Well, hi, everybody. Ken Johnson, or my name is Ken Johnson here with you. And we're once again tracking the cold weather across the country here tonight. And we're also tracking the Gulf Coast winter storm. And we're still looking at parts of the deep south that don't see snow very often. Are likely going to see quite a bit of snow out of this particular event here. So, if we take a look here at things, we're looking at temperatures across the region as of right now. And man, I'm telling you, these temperatures pretty cold. We're looking across parts of North Texas and Oklahoma, teens and low 20s. And I live in Wichita Falls, Texas, and it is cold here tonight, folks. Look up to the north, though. Look at those numbers across the central and northern plain states. Single digits and teens below zero. You jump up there into Canada, and some of those numbers are as much as 20 to 30 below zero. And the coldest area isn't here yet. Another surge. This area up here is going to surge southward overnight tonight and into early on Monday. And that's actually going to be the surge that leads to the development of a winter storm along the coast. So temperatures still look pretty cold, actually very cold across a good part of the country for the next couple of days. We'll probably start seeing some rebounds in temperatures towards the middle of this week, but until then, very cold. So what we're watching again is this area back here, the level charts. This is up there about 500 millibars or about 20,000 feet in the atmosphere. We're watching a piece of energy on the back side of all the cold air. Watch as it drops to the south, to the right a bit. So this is going to suppress the storm center down here into the northern Gulf. Whether you want to call it the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, your choice here. But that's going to lead to development of a storm system here, and it's going to track along the northern Gulf and across the northern Florida Peninsula, or even the central Florida Peninsula, and along and north of that track, it's going to bring for winter weather. It's a perfect setup. You got the cold air coming in from the north, and then you got that storm center forming in the Gulf of Mexico. So here's what we think is going to happen. This is your Gulf Coast winter storm. Looks like it gets started late Monday night, but most of it comes in Tuesday, and that will linger over into Wednesday as well. At least late Monday, you see the precipitation in the form of snow, maybe some light sleet back into parts of central and southern Texas. It looks like there should be a band of heavier snow that could get going somewhere right along the immediate coast. We're talking about Houston, Beaumont, Port Arthur, Lake Charles, Lafayette, Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, there could be some sleet mixed in with that, especially at the onset. But again, this heavy snow extends up into extreme South Mississippi, near and south of Macomb, Hattiesburg, over towards Biloxi, Mississippi. Now up towards Jackson, where I'm from, my hometown, looks like the bulk of the snow at this system will stay south. There may be a little bit of snow on the northern side up close to Interstate 20, but it doesn't look like a lot. Snow lovers, Birmingham, Huntsville, looks like the bulk of this storm too will miss you to the south. We track this further east into the southeastern part of the country here, and places like southern and central Georgia get the snow over into parts of south and parts of North Carolina. And then again, might see some freezing rain, some ice, perhaps a bit of an ice storm there across the northern Florida peninsula. All right, so let's talk about the weather closer to where I live. This is gonna impact the weather down there too. So if we take a look here, it's just cold up and across the northern parts of Texas and southern Oklahoma. But notice a little snow tries to show up to the north. That's that next surge of cold air, or that's that disturbance that's moving to the south. That's the energy, and it does produce some narrow bands of snow flurries or snow showers. Oh, we're not expecting anything in the way of accumulations, but they're possible tomorrow night into early Tuesday across some parts of the southern plain states. But in general, it's that piece of energy that dives to the south that's helped create that storm center that forms in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, let's take a look here at the high resolution future tracker. This is actually based off the HRRR computer model. Very good short range model. Usually does a pretty good job with how it handles things. And if you look, and there's the north, there's that snow developing north. But notice how you have precipitation that develops down at the south. Now, at least on my color palette, that would indicate rain, at least initially. And there could be a little rain to start with, but don't be surprised if that's primarily sleet or maybe even some freezing rain. But as the precipitation gets heavier and the storm center organizes a little bit better, looks like late Monday night, early Tuesday morning, we should see pretty good areas of sleet, maybe some freezing rain there along the immediate coast. But it looks like a lot of that's going to transition to snow. And as you get the heavier precipitation, heavier bands, I mean, you get to see where these little light blues kind of mix in with that white. Well, that's right along the Gulf Coast there. And I'm talking about Lafayette, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana, maybe over towards Houston. And there could be some light snow up towards Shreveport and Dallas, but not a lot. Maybe some light snow towards Jackson, Mississippi. But as we get into this, head into Tuesday, here we are around lunchtime. Look at the widespread snow along and south of Interstate 20. And again, even up towards Jackson, even Birmingham, there could be some light snow, light accumulations, but the bulk of it's going to be to your south. And even though the model tries to transition some of that to rain, I don't think that's going to be the case. It's going to mostly be snow across all of this area here. And again, New Orleans could see several hours of heavy snow on Tuesday. And to get a big accumulation, you've got to have a prolonged period of steady to heavy snow. Now you're going to track that over to the east, and then you see some snow across the southeastern part of the country. This is a European computer model. It too kind of higher resolution stuff. Almost on track with that heavy band of snow there along the immediate coastline over towards New Orleans. We track this into Tuesday evening, southeastern parts of the country, Destin, Florida, even snow and freezing rain there, Tallahassee over towards Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville may narrowly miss out on a bigger ice storm, but I mean, this is far to the south. That just tells you how far south and how strong this cold air mass is. Now, as far as snowfall amounts, you kind of have to take some time. Sometimes you have to take this with a bit of a grain of salt. If you take a look here, these numbers sometimes can be too high, but I think in this case, this is probably not a bad forecast here by the HRRR computer model. Look at that showing up Lafayette, Louisiana, up over 8 inches of snow. I think that would be like a historic, like a once in a lifetime type thing. Even in New Orleans, up over 4 to 5 inches of snow. I think the accumulations could extend further north, even up closer to Interstate 20, but don't expect a whole lot. Matter of fact, it's going to be a pretty sharp cutoff between areas that see decent snow from areas that don't get much at all. In fact, the HRRR don't even show anything in the way of accumulations up towards that. Matter of fact, the latest HRRR keeps a lot of that heavy snow south of Macomb. It actually does bring a lot of heavy snow, maybe in the order of 8 inches into Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So wouldn't that be something? But again, I think this might be maybe a little bit too far to the south with some of these accumulations. They may be a little bit further to the north, but the way the storm system looks and the position of it, probably is going to be mostly a coastal type storm. Now, if we take a look at freezing rain and any types of precipitation that might accumulate here, we are looking at again, some of those areas. And again, some of this could be down into North Florida, at least 1/10 of an inch, maybe even more. And there could be some power outages with this, especially North Florida and extreme southeastern parts of Georgia. So elsewhere across the region here, it's just going to be cold. I'm not expecting a lot in the way of snow further to the north. It's mostly cold. And again, I do expect rebounding temperatures starting around Wednesday. But the overall long range outlook is still going to favor shots of cold air dropping south from time to time into early February. So there's still going to be room for other winter storms to develop across the central and southern parts of the country. Thanks for watching my forecast video here. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow my social media pages.